Hey, hey. Good morning. How's it going? We doing good? I'm gonna assume you're doing good. So, here is the thing. This is not technically a horror game, but it is a puzzle game. And watching me try to solve puzzles is its own brand of horror. But we got until around 3. Now, when I googled the game, I forget exactly why, there's a video of the whole game on YouTube. It said the video's around 2 hours long. Let's just double that time because of how bad I am at puzzles. Yeah. Let's just do it to it, I guess. And also, since it's like an old DOSBox, you know, weird setup. Oh, wait, hold on. No, wait, no. DOSBox is weird. Oh! Okay, hold on. Hold on. Look at that. Oh, it's gone. I entered full screen mode. And I was like, what are you fucking doing, you moron? Yeah, look at that. You get the whole DOSBox experience. I think that's because we can do better than this. Yes. We can do better. Up. There we go. Okay. Status window. And there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh. I can't type as fast as I want to. Let's click this little dude now. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Spooky. Not really. Delicious. Home again. Delightfully crunchy audio in my headphones. What about you? Based on the Griffin and Sabine trilogy by Nick Bantock. Was it Bancock? That would be woefully incorrect. Oh.
Turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dim tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned.
What? There probably is an option for subtitles, so, we will have to. Oh! Dude, that's... You fucking moron, you missed the seed. You did it! Hell yeah. Go, be free! Whoosh!
Griffin Moss. It's good to get in touch with you at last. Could I have one of your fish postcards? I think you were right. The wine glass has more impact than the cup. Sabine Strohem.
I think all the postcards from Buster, no. It's postcards from Sabine and Griffin. Also, all the audio of this game is going to be coming out of your left ear. Just be prepared. This fish. Bing. Oh. We freed it.
Sabine, thank you for your exotic postcard. Forgive me if it's a memory lapse on my part, but should I know you? I can't fathom out how you were aware of my first broken cup sketch for this card. I don't remember showing it to anyone. Please, enlighten me. Yours, Griffin Moss.
Son of a bitch, you fish, you blurred the ink! Why are all my images broken? The emotes... Oh, whoa, oh, ah! All... Lisa! Get out of here, bro.
Griffin Moss. No, Griffin. You don't know me. Not in the way you mean. Though I've been watching your art for many years. Having finally established who and where you are, I feel compelled to reveal myself. The phenomenon that links us has taught me much about you, yet I'm ignorant of your history. Please tell me something of your life. It is such a pleasure having your images in a tangible form. I really like the kangaroo in the hat, but I wonder whether you should have darkened the sky. Sabine. Griffin Moss. No, Griffin, you don't know me. Not in the way you mean. Though I've been watching your art for many years. Having
Why must it be broken? Why must chat be broken up? It's not just the on-screen one. It looks like it's also happening just on Twitch.
Yet I'm ignorant of your history. Please tell
The
me.
horrors of today continue.
It is such a pleasure having your images in a tangible form. I really like the kangaroo in the hat, but I wonder whether you should have darkened the sky. Sabine.
Look at this dude. This motherfucker. I'm gonna... Whoa. Banana! Do you like a banana? Banana!
Ms. Stroham, what's going on? How in the world could you know I darkened the sky behind the kangaroo? It was only a light cobalt for about half an hour. And what do you mean by phenomenon and tangible? Okay, if getting me intrigued is what you're after, you've succeeded, but you can hardly expect me to spill my life story to a stranger. Why are you being so ruddy mysterious?
Ruddy?
Griffin Moss. P.S. Your postcards are handmade. Did you do them yourself?
Go. You must be freed. Everything's broken on Twitch, oh no! Not even pizza time went through! At least it didn't on my end.
Griffin, you're right. I am being mysterious, but I assure you it's for good reason. What I have to say will be disturbing, and I wish you no distress. I share your sight. When you draw and paint, I see what you're doing while you do it. I know your work almost as well as I know my own. Of course, I do not expect you to believe this without proof. Last week, while working on a head in chalk, you paused and lightly sketched a bird in the bottom corner of the paper. You then erased it and obliterated all trace with heavy black. Don't be alarmed. I wish you only well. Sabine. Yes, the pictures on the cards are mine.
Oh! This is delightful. I say for now before... Whoa!
Sabine, this is impossible. And yet, it must be true. There was no one in my studio all that week, let alone when I scribbled the bird. I've checked the drawing and there's not the slightest sign of the creature front or back. God knows how, but you really can see me, can't you? Why doesn't this alarm me as much as it should? I suppose because I've always sensed that I was being watched, but I'd put it down to everyday paranoia. I've a million questions. Am I the only one you see? What form does your sight take? How come I can't see you? I want to hear everything, right, in detail. Tell me all about yourself. I demand to know. Please. Griffin.
Oh. 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 Creature. Let me out. Let me out.
Griffin, now that it comes to answering your questions and telling you about myself, I feel oddly shy. Not that this is a reason to hold back. In fact, I deem it a sign to press on. I know nothing of my real parents. I was handed to my father and mother by an old picker who found me on the slopes of Pillow Mountain, bellowing among hot black metal and broken grass. My father, who was at the time the only European on the island, went with neighbors to search the area, but it was the rainy season. The mountain was deserted and one of the regular mudslides had obliterated everything. Later he tried in vain to find record of a plane crash, but I had, it would seem, appeared from nowhere. I must have been 6 months old when I arrived, hungry, but otherwise unharmed. In this way I became Sabine, daughter of Gust and Tahis Throhem, and by their kindness and caring have grown to my present age of 28 years. During my early childhood, I spent most of my time with my mother, who is a native of Katyn and Sigmund's only midwife. She is fun and wise, but by the age of 7, had grown bored with babies and birth. I decided to trade her company for that of my father, who had once been a curator at the Natural History Museum in Paris and had a mind that retained information like flypaper. He and I would go wandering in search of specimens for his catalogue of the islands, a book that would document every species on the Sigmunds. I'd skip along by the side of him, clutching his canvas bag and clinging to his every word. He loved to talk as much as I loved to listen. Sometimes it would be about Paris or Amsterdam or other cities he lived in, but mostly he spoke of the islands and the things we saw and heard. He encouraged me to draw those things, promising me the position of official illustrator to the catalogue when I grew up. I remember one time when we'd just come up to the village from hunting shells on Ptolemy Beach, and I dropped a monstrous conch on my foot. I howled with pain, and a tree ahead of us exploded with blue and yellow macos. My father, who could see that I didn't know whether to attend my toe or the feathered fireworks, laughed and whispered, "Pain and beauty, our constant bedfellows." Young as I was, I understood. On the dawn of my 15th year, I was lying in the easy state between sleep and wake, when the image of an half-drawn flower came into my head. I was entranced. Gradually it grew and changed. Lines appeared and disappeared. It was so real and clear. I could see the picture, but not the hand that created it. Eventually, a noise from the outside broke my concentration, and the image evaporated. It was your drawing, Griffin, the first of hundreds of pictures I witnessed without knowing who made them. For 13 years, I've waited for a clue, anything that would help me locate the artist. You seem destined to be an enigma forever, when a few months ago I came across an article in Graphica about a one-man postcard company. It said that the art was all Moss's own work, and there was a photo of your first card. It was the same piece I'd seen being drawn 3 years before. Finally, I knew who you were. I counseled myself to be cautious and find out what you were like before revealing myself fully. Please don't feel invaded. It's not like that, I promise. But I am impatient to hear about you. Write soon. Yes, I can only see you. Sabine.
I don't know what's with the audio. But let's just chalk it up to DOSBOX being DOSBOX. Maybe you should wake up. Wake up, dude. Oh! What? Dude, watch out. She gets an eye out the fish, idiot.
Sabine, I am an honourable man. Most of the time. And although I could spend this whole letter asking you more questions, I will hold back, do the right thing and spill my life story. But it's going to seem awfully dull compared to your colourful existence. I see what you mean about getting shy. I feel like climbing under the carpet.
With smooth jazz.
My mother was Italian-Irish. My father, Hungarian-Scottish. I was born in Dublin, and when I was 1, we moved to England. As you might guess, I wouldn't know my nationality if it came up and bit me. We lived off the Holloway Road in darkest London. Our small back-to-back Victorian house was as dismally predictable as the others in the row, at least from the outside. The inside was slightly different. Our house was a temple to the book. We owned thousands, nay millions of books. They lined the walls, filled the cupboards, and turned the floor into a maze far more complex than Hampton Courts. Books ruled our lives. They were our demigods. Occasionally I'd come home to a reenactment of the Battle of Britain in the front room. My beloved parents would be flying round like a pair of demented fighter planes, shrieking and spitting venom at one another. My father would be wearing his traditional uniform of socks and moth-eaten dressing gown, and my mother her lemon carpet slippers and housecoat. My entrance would make no difference to their dogfight, but when one of them accidentally and inevitably knocked over a pile of books, they'd stop instantly and unite to examine the extent of the damage. Life continued in this pleasant vein until the day my parents got run down by a newspaper van that thoughtlessly mounted the pavement in Islington High Street. It sounds heartless, but looking back, I would say that this was my great salvation, because at 15, I was whisked off to live with my mother's stepsister in Totnes, Devon. Verica was a potter, and the kindest person I've ever met. The first thing she asked me was whether I wanted to carry on with school or learn to pot. No one had ever asked me what I wanted to do before. I would have made her my idol if she'd let me. Instead, I became her apprentice. Some people find it hard to move from the big city to the country, but for me it was a piece of cake. Not only did I fall for Verica, but also for the town of Totnes. In that green and pleasant land, the cider is so strong you have to hold onto the bar as you drink it. I spent 3 blissful years in Verica's house being quietly instructed on how to use my hands and my eyes. Eventually she convinced me that I needed to broaden my skills and my horizons, and packed me off to the Bristol Art College to become a fine artist. At college, everyone was painting big, flat canvases and becoming wizards with masking tape. To my discredit, I joined the geometric sheep, when all I really wanted to do was become a cross between Leonardo and Rembrandt. I'm forgetting you probably saw for yourself how dazzlingly dreary my stuff was. My spell at college wasn't totally wasted because I met Sarah, my first real girlfriend, and in the 6 months we were together, my horizons became broader. When I left Bristol, I returned to Totnes, even though Verica by then had moved to the States. I'd only been back a couple of weeks when someone called to tell me that Verica had died suddenly.
Oh.
Of a brain tumor.
Oh.
In New York.
Ooh.
I stood in that cold little hall for ages, paralyzed with loneliness. Losing my parents had barely touched me. They were only cartoon characters, but Verica was a real person. I didn't understand how she could leave me like that. If I'd grieved, I'd have probably been okay. Instead, I sunk into a dark, drowning depression and stayed there for almost 3 months. Remembering it now still makes me numb. It was a lawyer's letter that finally made me surface. Verica had left me her money, and the combination of dealing with practicalities and realizing how much she cared for me forced me onto dry land. I came back to the world changed. I had an inner drum and I was going to march. I decided to use my inheritance to move back to London and set up Griffin Cards, which was to be dedicated to my idiosyncratic vision of the universe, and that's where I am now, beavering away. I presume you can't see my writing as well as my pictures, or posting this letter would be superfluous. Any idea why it's only my images you see? And why can't I see yours? Tell me more about your islands, and tell me what you do. Did you become your dad's official illustrator? I can't express to you how pleased I am that you're out there. Since Verica died, I've been alone. Now that you're there and have been all along, I feel whole again. You don't think we're twins separated at birth, do you? Or is that too simple? Griffin. P.S. As you may have noticed, I'm not the world's greatest typist.
Oh. spooky. Alright, hold on. Let's see what I can do with the sound. Sound blaster, ultrasound PC speaker. Great, I think. Oh. 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 I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it really well. Hmm. 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 Curious. Curiouser and curiouser. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. Hmm. Hmm. How very kerfuzzling. Hmm. I know all I'm saying is You know, it's a not good at puzzles. I don't know what happened. Spin. Spin. I'm truly and fully perplexed. Boom. Oh, I'm legitimately stupefied. What do I do? I'm going to look it up. Ah. The one thing I hadn't thought to click on. Whoop. There we go.
Griffin, can you imagine what it will be like never to see the back of your hand? Then, quite sadly, to turn it over and gaze at it. I read your letter again and again, nodding to myself as the events in your life match my memory of the way you were painting. When I read of Erica's death and your misery, I found it hard to breathe, and hearing that my existence eased your pain made my heart race. We have found one another, and I give thanks. Take care, Griffin. I will, I promise, tell you more of the island and my work when next I write.
Oh, I got a message. What could it be? It's nothing important. Did you know that the CPU speed is at 105% cycles? Oh, I hit shift tabs. Oh, aspect correction. Ooh. So I'm looking over the, Is a sound mixer? What? 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 Sound blaster. Kravis ultrasound. PS1 audio. You can't see my menu, but I can see it. What happens if I go into full screen? Whoa. back. Safe. I don't know how to fix the sound. This is just what we have to deal with. Oh. Poke that idiot. Oh! He has fallen.
Sabine, today I phoned the place in Dublin where they keep the records of births and deaths. My twin theory is blown. I was definitely a single birth. I also did a bit of research on telepathy. There was a man and his daughter in Argentina before the First War who supposedly could do identical drawings whilst miles apart. It sounds dubious to me, and anyway, I prefer to think of us as unique. Your pictures, the ones on the cards, seem very slightly familiar. Maybe I can see your work too, only my reception, as it were, isn't as good as yours. Winter's here, Ellie. The city is grey and dreary. I cheer myself by daydreaming of you in the South Seas. Love, Griffin.
Hold on. Sound. Speaker. I think mine's 44100. 441. That didn't do anything. I don't know enough about the DOSBox settings to fiddle with the audio too much. Oh! It's a little quiet. Is it quiet for you? It's just... It's on max volume. I can turn it. Well.
It is 6 o'clock. I've been up for just under an hour. Below me, under my balcony, the street is starting to come to life. The sunlight is still soft and hasn't yet begun to cut its deep blue shadows across the kitchen wall behind me. I'll stay here drinking my coffee and writing for another few minutes. Then I'll go down to the boat that takes me across to Catting. I work there 3 days a week. The rest of the time I'm either here at my desk or over a keep wall, communing with some fascinating green sand beetles.
Beetles.
You asked me if I became my father's illustrator. At first, yes. But then one day, around 2 years ago, he and I were halfway up a palm tree looking for mammoth eggs when he slipped. I slid back down to find him unscathed, but looking pensive. You know, he said, I would like to spend my remaining years with Tahi and the grandchildren. Would you like to take over and finish the book? I told him there was nothing in the world I would rather do. The book, of course, does not provide me with an income. The publisher's small advance is long gone. And although my parents would have supported me until I got married, as is the custom, I wanted to earn my own living. So when I was offered the grandly titled position of Sigmund's philatelic designer, I took it. The island elders had noted that the Solomon Island made a healthy profit by issuing stamps every couple of months to accommodate the world stamp collectors. They decided that we should do the same, so my post as SPD came into existence. Each year I designed 24 stamps. No one seemed to mind what's on them because I am the only one around who writes letters. The stamps are printed in Singapore and shipped straight out from there. The few that come back to the islands tend to sit in the post office gathering dust. I'm afraid this freedom of choice leads me to indulge myself in selecting subject matter.
A stamp maker and a postcard maker.
Those geometric paintings you did at art college. I want to understand their hidden language of color and shape. It's so alien to me.
It was meant to be.
I wonder if we will ever understand how and why we're linked. Griffin, why try? Let us simply take pleasure in each other. I am of the islands, yet I'm from elsewhere. I've always craved a closeness that I could not find here. Now I feel it with you. My kinsmen are responsive to me, but there is no one to reach my heart. And you, who are so far away, have been closer to me than any man on the islands. It is evening now, and I have returned to the house. Outside is dark, and the birds are finally silent. But their place has been taken by the even noisier insect chorus. After dinner, I will lie down in my hammock in the hope that you are at work. I am never tired of watching those marks come and go. I remember your first erotic drawing. I was trembling from head to foot by the time you'd finished. Was that Sarah? No, don't answer. I'm only teasing. Why do I only see your images and not your writing? Because we dream in picture, not in words? You told me of your history, but speak little of the present. Why is that? Much care, Sabine.
This is going to be an unpleasant auditory experience. I just don't know enough about how to configure DOSBox. Ooh. Whoa! Can't see. Mouse cursor. One second. Yeah, no, those bastards took my mouse cursor away. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
Sabine, it's all very well for you to take this telepathic link between us matter-of-factly. You've had years to adjust to it. And no doubt your society teaches patience and acceptance. Mine teaches obsessive, logical inquiry. I'm just sticking to my programming. No, that's ungenerous of me. I promise to grit my teeth and try to allow things to unfold as they will. I'm kicking myself for not figuring out that you were the stamp designer. Looking back at the cards, it's obvious. When I saw the parrot postcard the first time, I assumed you copied it from the stamp. I apologize for grossly underestimating your talents. What a great job you have. You wouldn't care to swap, would you? Those college geometric paintings of mine had no hidden language to them. They were an example of what happens when you take an interesting concept through to its ultimate conclusion. It's meaningless. Forget about them. It embarrasses me to think of them. Art for art's sake is best quarantined here, in the old world. I crave an art that passionately transcends the mundane instead of being a device for self-deception. Enough. I'll tell you about myself, although I'm not certain what there is to say. I don't have any close friends. I keep my own company most evenings. I work in the studio. Maybe this isn't the best way to go about it. I'm making myself sound appallingly dull. I'll try again. Yesterday, I was in town, the centre of London, during the afternoon, talking with a card distributor. I didn't want to go back to the studio, so I shambled into the National Gallery. I reckoned I had 10 minutes before the guards started slinging us out. When I've only got a short period of time like that, I pick a painting and try to dissolve myself into it. Without consciously making any decision, my feet took me to Paolo Uccello's George and the Dragon. Do you know it? I'd been standing in front of it for a while, my mind a vacuum, when I had one of those moments of profoundly shocking insight. There was my life, laid out before me. I charge around on a toy white horse, lance in hand, wearing funny shining armor that wouldn't protect me from a cigarette lighter, let alone a dragon's breath. I attack these pet dragons in order to release beautiful maidens who will, I assume, reward me. They, however, are utterly indifferent. They don't care to be released, and I've been fooling myself with a fake sense of purpose. Like George, my back is turned to an infinite sky filled with violent spirals of silver clouds. As you might guess, this revelation had something of a deflating effect on my mood, and I trailed out into Trafalgar Square, determined to take it out on the pigeons. But hounding the winged rats made me feel like St. George again. Defeated and utterly gloomy, I crawled onto a number 14 bus and headed home to Southend Green. I tried to paint, but got nowhere. I put on some jazz, made myself a poached egg on toast, and gave myself over to self-pity. I'm making a joke of this, but I'm worried. Waves of depression are washing over me. I've started to see Verica in the crowds, and I feel like I'm slipping into my drowning pool. It's only your cards and letters that keep me going. I was finding it hard to get over the idea of there being other men in your life when I reached the part in your letter about my erotic drawings. I stopped being jealous. We were lovers, and I hadn't realized it. The drawings weren't of Sarah, they were of you. How strange to have a paper love. Make sure you look after yourself. All my love, Griffin.
They say romance is dead. Oh, my model. Gotta fix my head. There we go. I found the position reset button. Woo. Woo. Oh! There they go.
Griffin, I'd fail to understand how unhappy you are. You cover up with jokes and a front of being self-contained. I'm worried for you. Don't judge yourself so harshly. Why not get down from the white horse, take off the armor, and walk away from the uninterested maidens? So you've been making love to me 10,000 miles away? How tantalizing. It accounts for the extreme potency of those drawings. I'll have to find a way to return the affection. Remember to be gentle with yourself. Sabine.
Oh! It's rotating through it!
Sabine, when you found me, I thought my loneliness had gone for good. I was kidding myself. I desperately desire your company. I haven't talked to anyone in 3 days. I was sure I was going to start seeing your pictures like you see mine. I've tried so hard. I've concentrated, I've meditated. I've done everything except stand on my head, and I get nothing. Not a flicker. And I think my own work is going stale. I haven't produced anything worthwhile for weeks. And my stomach hurts. Pathetic, isn't it? Aren't I? Send me something from the islands. Some magic that will heal my ailing soul. How can I miss you this badly when we've never met? Love, Griffin.
In OBS, it's saying there's audio in the right channel. I don't know what it is. I don't hear anything. Oh. Ducks. Oh. Oh.
Griffin, I miss you too. If you don't see my pictures, there is a good reason. Sometimes willpower alone cannot make things happen. As for your work being stale, I disagree. What I can see is not staleness, it's change. I feel you moving to your dark side. Give your shadow a chance to unveil itself. You said that Griffin Cards was dedicated to your perception of the universe. Then let the card reflect the night. Island magic works on island souls. You and I will heal each other. Sabine.
Sabine. Sabine. Duck. Ugh. I do not enjoy this image. What am I looking at? Still know what this occasional popping in my right ear is. Don't know what's up with that. Must be DOSBOX nonsense. Oh? Ah!
Sabine, this place is wearing me down. I find it harder and harder to get up in the morning. I never used to be like this. I was always disgustingly bright as soon as my eyes opened. I've started to hate this city, this country, all these stupid fucking people. I almost got into a fight in a cafe yesterday. I was sick of being alternately ignored and abused by the waiter and waitress. I was overtaken by an anger like nothing I've ever experienced before. I started yelling and kicking chairs. I guess I finally snapped. My days are barren, but my nights are heady with you. I want to know what you look like. Will you send me a photograph?
Turned up the audio
All my love.
of the game in OBS. Hopefully it helps. I think I still have... Yeah, okay, I got the limiter on.
Griffin, a photograph would not be possible. I offer myself in paint instead. It's self-flattering, but that's our prerogative as artists, to record ourselves the way we wish. Why, my kindred spirit, are you prepared to settle for a postcard of my face? If you wish to see me, why not come here? What is there to stop you? You're clearly unhappy where you are. Come. Sabine.
Sabine. I wish I... Go, get him. Go. Climb! Up. Gone.
Sabine, things have become so difficult. I mustn't write again. This whole affair has gotten too intense, too real, Sabine. You don't exist. I invented you. You. The cards, the stamps, the islands. You're a figment of my imagination. I was lonely and I wanted a friend, but I'm almost out of control. I've started to think I'm in love with you. Before it takes me over, it has to stop. Goodbye. Griffin.
Whoa! I'm a beautiful butterfly. And I cannot wait to hear how the wacky VOD audio.
Griffin, foolish man. You cannot turn me into a phantom because you are frightened. You do not dismiss a muse at whim. If you will not join me, then I shall come to you. Sabine.
That's a threat, if I ever heard one. He's gone missing! What?
The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming.
I'm going to change the title of the stream real quick. Damn. Ooh. Ooh.
Sabine, if you are reading this, then you exist. Is that true? I mean, it should be bloody obvious to me, but it isn't. If I invented you, then you don't exist. Right? But how then can you still write to me? I've got to trust logic, or I'm nowhere. If I didn't write your letters and you did, then you're real. Or I'm crazy. I'm certain that when all this began, I was making you up. Now you say you're coming here. You scare me. Who are you? Are you my lover? Or are you that dark angel whose picture came through my letterbox yesterday? I cannot stay here to find out. Do you understand? I want you to be the woman I've dreamt of, to see you, to touch you, to be with you. And yet the possibility that you are a malevolent creature, grown from my insanity, appalls me. So I'm running away. As I'm writing this, I presume I must believe you're real. Will you wait for me? Stay in my house. Be my guest. And live here till I return. I'm running from you, but I'm also searching for a way to accept my fate, which I know to be bound with yours. I desperately need your help. I'll write with a forwarding address, and if you forgive me my cowardliness, maybe you will write back. Like Ariadne holding the string for Perseus while he enters the Minotaur's labyrinth. Your words might keep me from going hopelessly astray. There you see how I'm already giving this mythological status. Wanting to salvage my ego. Wanting to look like an adventurer rather than accepting the idea that I'm behaving like a madman hiding from his shadow. Do you remember the card you sent last year telling me of our shared site? I didn't believe you. Then you proved it. and I was frantic with joy. I fell in love with you, and I think you with me. But I mistrusted. Could all my confusion be punishment for lack of faith in you? If I leave, make a journey, I might gain the courage to face you, but now, with your menacing winged card hanging over me, I know I dare not stay another night here. I love you. Griffin.
Ooh. The audio quality might not be so good, probably because of how this DOSBox was set up. Whoever voice acted whoever read Griffin's lines, he did a pretty good job. Get off paper. Ooh. Plane.
Griffin, I'm not surprised that you fled.
Hello.
Recent cards led me to expect an impulsive retreat. But I am saddened that I evoke fear in you. I like your house, and I will be more than content to stay here. I've arranged to be away from the sick months until the end of July. As long as your quest takes no longer than that, you can expect me to be here on your return. Waiting all those years to find out who you were has prepared me for this. A little more waiting will do me no harm.
Alright. Have fun with what you're doing. Expect.
You strip naked. I used some gold powder and an old Hermé label I found in your kitchen. Do you mind?
I'm not sure what's up with Twitch, but it looks like all the emotes are broken. I think it's the same. At least it is in OBS. There's some weirdness going on with the emotes. Don't know what it is. It's also gonna be weird audio with the. Yeah, it's showing up on like the actual Twitch page, but it's not showing up in like my OBS chat box or on the overlay. Not sure what's up with that. Also, just be prepared for the weird audio from the game itself. This is being emulated on a DOSBox that I did not set up myself. Just a little heads up. Just a little thank you, chatbot. Let me in. Dude, let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Beautiful.
Sabine, I feel so much calmer now that I've heard from you. You sound so gentle and tranquil. How could I have imagined that you would be the dark creature I'm so terrified of? When I read your card, I wanted to return home immediately. But I know precisely what would happen if I did. I would go along merrily until I came within sight of my door, then I'd begin to shake like a bone in a dog's mouth. Better I push on. I came to Dublin because it was my grandfather's birthplace, and because of the powerful words that have been written here. And for some reason, this is where my journey begins. I walked in the Wicklow Mountains yesterday and heard a sad music. The slopes were so soft and green that I began to crave cold marble. Tomorrow I fly to Florence. I don't know where I'll be staying. Please, write to me, care of Post Restaurant. All my love, Griffin. Anything in the house is yours to use.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Fishy, fishy. Squishy, squish. Fishy, fishy. Rain! I love the metro system! Whoa! Whoa! Trains are moving! Whoa! Hmm. Ooh.
Griffin, I'm still in the first flush of excitement of being here. I wish I had you to show me around, but I follow my nose and I've seen many amazing things. I think I was prepared for everything except the people. There are so many of them. I tried traveling on the underground train when they were all going to work. It was extraordinary. Bodies pressed together like fish crushed in a net. After one stop, I had to go above ground to feel the sky again. I saw you painting last night. A woman in the mist. It brought you close to me. Sabine. Who does the grey cat belong to? Should I feed it?
Delight. Oh. Ooh. Move. Move. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Silly rock.
Sabine, you speak of London being full of people. Well, Florence has its share too, mostly packs of tourists, determined to get their money's worth by tearing through every museum in the city. But they don't matter, because everything else is soothing to me. The architecture, the sculpture, the land itself are all so magnificent that I'm healed. I must be. Why else should I be so happy? This journey has taken on the character of a pilgrimage. Griffin Moss pays homage at the altar of his masters. I'm going to stay a few days longer and give myself a chance to see the churches. I had a wonderful sensuous dream last night. I was at the Palazzo de Medici talking to Lorenzo himself when you emerged from a smoky wall and enveloped me. I miss you, Griffin. Having no more printed cards with me, I'm making one-offs like you.
I don't know why I'm gasping so much. Oh, hello. Ah.
Griffin, you gave me an idea. Instead of wandering haphazardly around, I decided to take a tour of London's churches. The big ones, like St. Paul's, I found grand, but empty. Then I came upon one that was different. It was a dark place, steeped in death. As I stood looking at it, I felt its roots running below the city, like a black twin to the underground. Enough playing the tourist. It is time I get down to some work. Italy suits you, my love, but be a little cautious. The eye of the storm is a deceptive place. Sabine. The stamp on the front is a printer's proof, the last I drew up before I left Katie. Camels make me laugh.
Camels are silly creatures. Look at this dude. Ah.
You were right. Again. As soon as I left Italy, my confidence drained away.
Just had to jostle him for the letter.
Pleasant enough country, but I'm a total stranger. I imagined being heroic against a perfect blue and white island background. Fat chance. Instead, black clouds are circling around me and I'm getting scared again. Your card didn't help either. Your description of the dark church rang all kinds of unpleasant bells. I need love, Griffin. Right? P.O. Alexandria.
Ooh. Knock knock. Ooh. Don't know what I did, but I did it.
Griffin, your preparations for crossing into no man's land have the sound of a death wish. Why not try to view the next stage of your journey as a transition? Choose reassuring thoughts. Remember, I'm holding the string end, and I won't allow you to disappear into oblivion. I've set up camp at the British Museum, drawing by day and then returning to paint in your studio at night. The museum is cozy. The dust and the narrow shafts of sunlight remind me of my father's study. Keep strong. Sabine. You still haven't told me why your studio is empty. The Sumerian bear on the front is meant to be a hostility symbol, but it looks melancholy to me.
Ooh. Ooh. Blowing my cursor away. Ah. My cursor! It's been blown off screen! Ah. Ooh.
Sabine, you have an unnerving way of being a jump ahead of me. Am I slow, or are you smart? Death wish, you said. It's true, I am preoccupied with death. Not my own, though. As you know, my Aunt Verica's death was a hammer blow to me. I've always passed my parents' death off as insignificant, but now I doubt that it was. How can anyone let his parents go without some regret, some loss? No matter how inept they were at child rearing. Egypt was the next obvious step for me to take. I'm sure you already noticed. My journey is an exercise in walking backwards. There's 3,000 years worth of death here. An art history teacher once told me that the Egyptian word for sculptor means he who keeps alive forever. This seemed to be the perfect place for me. Later. At this point, I stopped to go for a walk, and while I was out, something happened. I was wandering the back streets when I came across an old artifact shop. It was full of relics that I cynically assumed had been made in the past few weeks. I idly rummaged about for 5 minutes, and then out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of a painting of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the Egyptian underworld. And reflected in the picture's glass was the figure of a samurai. I spun round to look for the original of this out-of-context reflection, but there was no sign of anything resembling an oriental intruder. I turned back to the painting and looked again. The image had become more defined, or maybe I was more focused, and I looked into his face. He did not move, but his eyes watched me, and there was a flash of recognition between us. I felt that he was somehow mine, for me, like a bodyguard or a guardian angel. I realize this sounds totally fanciful, but at the time, I was utterly convinced. I returned to the hotel in a state of euphoria. The elation has worn off, but I'm less alone. The figure whose reflection I'd seen in the shop had an aura of absolute self-belief. And for some reason, he is on my side. You might ask why I'm so pleased to have had a vision that goes a long way towards confirming my insanity. I guess I would answer that I have had little trust in my perception of reality for a while now, and accepting an impossibility comes as a relief. Also, I'm chicken, and the idea of traveling with the samurai swordsman as a hidden companion gives me heart. I love you, Griffin. Please notice, I'm choosing reassuring thoughts. The cat you asked about a while back is Minlouche. He's self-sufficient, comes and goes with the moon.
That's about right for cats. They do what they want. Cat! There we go.
Griffin, you must be blessed. In Sigmund mythology, wandering warriors placed themselves at the service of worthy travelers. They are reputed to keep death from becoming greedy. The figure in your painting appears especially formidable. With him around, I know that you'll be able to confront almost any threat. I've been drawing in the museum's Egyptian gallery. The silent stones fill me with awe. They are sublimely sophisticated. The city's neon lights seem naive in comparison, like children's toys. Take heart, Sabine. Minlouche came into the house today. You see, I too have been honored.
Oh, hello. Hanging out? Okay, then. Knock, knock. Oh. Yeah.
Sabine, I was clinging to logic like a life buoy. Now, in the flick of an eye, I'm trying to follow intuition. I see a reflection of a samurai in the glass of a painting, and I come to Japan. Reason is discarded, and I'm just going where the voices of the moment seem to send me. I am the barbarian, stalking the temples of Kyoto for long-departed wisdom. I wallow in the aesthetics, hoping that they will purify the beholder. These are my introspective whimperings. I'm a self-indulgent child. Why can't I grow up? I ask that sincerely. If you know, tell me. If I could draw the way I feel about you, I would. Love, Griffin.
Ooh. Ah! My cursor! See how it is.
Griffin, it seems to me that you are in the process of growing up right now. That, amongst other reasons, is why I'm waiting for you. As for self-indulgence, I think not. This trip is something you must do. I've discovered an ice cream parlor opposite the roundhouse that serves perfect coffee. I'm plagued by the constant temptation to ride a 19 bus to Chalk Farm and drink a cup. Could be sexual frustration. My father had me read Freud. Maybe if you were here, I wouldn't want. Then again, we children might go together. Sabine.
Oh.
The cat went here and there, and the moon spun round like a top, and the nearest kin of the moon, the creeping cat, looked up. Black Minalouche stared at the moon, for wonder and wail as he would. The pure cold light in the sky troubled his animal blood. Minalouche runs in the grass, lifting his delicate feet. Do you dance, Minalouche? Do you dance? When two close kindred meet, what better than call a dance? Maybe the moon may learn, tired of that courtly fashion, a new dance turn. Minalouche creeps through the grass, from moonlit place to place. The sacred moon overhead has taken a new phase. Does Minalouche know that his pupils will pass from change to change, and that from round to crescent, from crescent to round, they range? Minalouche creeps through the grass, alone, important and wise, and lifts to the changing moon his changing eyes.
Sabine. I wished to be somewhere truly old, and thus by various convoluted routes I found myself here, among these bushmen. fascinating people. They navigate their land by songs and stories. An elder who has been kind to me took me to meet his mother. She grasped my hand, stared at me long and hard, and then told me that my back was open. She shuffled into her hut and emerged with a feather, and then she began to stroke my back with it. Afterwards I offered to pay her, but she made sputtering noises, so I gave her a picture I'd done of a twisted tree. This produced a huge smile, and I was much congratulated by those gathered around. I love Griffin. Can you still see me? We'll pass through Brisbane. Right there.
Horse?
Griffin, I have to own up to something. You're not the only reason that I came to London. I needed to bring the illustrations for a catalogue of the islands to our publisher in Holborn. The major chapters are finished, and our contract entitles us to an additional advance. I had no intention of sending so many years' worth of work through the post. I know too much about the world's postal services to submit my past to the lottery. I arrived this morning at the publisher's green and gold door at 10 o'clock, the pre-arranged meeting time, to see our editor. At 10:30, the receptionist told me that I could go on up. It is odd. Half an hour on Catty would have been nothing, but here I felt manipulated. After getting lost on the various staircases and numerous corridors, I eventually found Mr. McBride in his faded office. I don't know what the man expected, but I was not it. Maybe he thought my father was coming, or maybe my appearance surprised him. Anyway, he became discernibly unnerved. His agitation took the form of an unpunctuated monologue on Paul Gauguin, the rapid offering of 3 different chairs, and the taking of sidelong glances at my body. Eventually, he got around to looking at my drawings and was obviously pleased at what he saw. After a short but careful examination, he called in a grey young woman, and he had to scoop away my precious pictures. Even though it was only 11:15, he then asked me to lunch, mumbling, "Literary necessity, and just part of the tradition." During the expensive and tasteless meal, he tried to seduce me, with what I think is called old world charm. Needless to say, a fruitless effort. I assume that he and his publishing house will get our book onto the shelves, but I wonder how such an organization can survive in the 20th century. On the bus back, I kept thinking of you. How exasperating you can be. How important your journey is to your survival. And how much I need you. As you move closer to my home, I feel our positions reversing. I'm nervous for us both. London life tires and burdens me. I walk regularly on Hampstead Heath to relieve my eyes of the fearful symmetry. I'd just come back from my walk yesterday, and I was glancing through one of your books when out fluttered a picture of you. You looked maybe 15, gaunt and haunted. Realizing how much I love you, I burst into tears. I have not told you 100th of what I hold in my heart for you. I know that your journey has reached a turning point, and I want to give you strength. I have loved you since I was 13, when first I saw your hand moving across that sheet of paper. I have loved you in every manner that my imagination could contrive. I have wanted you so deeply that my body sang with pain and pleasure. You have been my obsession, my passion, my philosopher's stone of fantasy. You are my desire, my longing, my spirit. I love you unconditionally. Do you hear me, Griffin? Do you see that I cherish you beyond question, that you have nothing to prove to me? You are making your journey to secure yourself. I'm already tethered to your side. If you can love yourself as I love you, there will be no dislocation. You'll be whole. Bring yourself home to me, and I will immerse you in every ounce of tenderness I possess. Sabine.
Lion. Ah! Flashbang!
You shame me. You have much more faith in me than I do. The openness of your love overwhelms me. Of course, I love you. As for liking myself, possibly I can achieve that when I'm less prone to bouts of self-pity. Part of me desperately wants to go to you right now. But I'm committed to finishing that which I've started. If I am to find my courage and understand the connection between us, then my outward voyage ends in the Sycamores. With all my soul, Griffin, I had a revelation. In a moment's daydream, I glimpsed a painting of a mask. I'm certain it was yours.
Ooh. Ooh! Ah!
Griffin, I thought to stay in the city in case you returned suddenly. That seems unlikely now, so I've come out to the countryside near Dorset. I have been in sad danger of confusing London and England, two very different places. I'm sitting on top of the rolling earth mound, known as Maiden's Castle. It is a handmade hill that purrs quietly, like an old slumbering creature. I feel rejuvenated. I hadn't realized what a prisoner I'd become. The area you enter is dangerous. Beware such things as abrupt changes of weather, and never underestimate the sea. Sabine.
Sabine. Oh. There's my mouse cursor. Thank you, Ocean, for bringing it to me. Oh. Oh. Lionfish.
Sabine, my obsession with reaching the Sigmunds almost cost me my life. I'd been in Onyara for a week, getting cranky because I couldn't find a ship to take me to Kati or any of the other islands. As you must be aware, the town is not overloaded with distractions. Alternately drinking at the Guadalcanal Club and at the Yacht Club, however nice the thatched roof, has a limited attraction. Finally, on my umpteenth visit to the dock, I found an old sea dog, cliché as it is, I can describe in no other way, who spoke pidgin and who said he would take me to where I wished. His tub, which looked like the African queen, gave me grave misgivings. But I was determined and desperate to see your home. He wanted to leave immediately, so I ran back to grab my stuff and was aboard before I could back out. In retrospect, I'm not even sure he knew where I wanted to go. It's difficult to be exact in pidgin. 2 days out from the Solomons, we were hit by a freak wave, and I was catapulted overboard. I don't swim, and I went straight down. But I didn't panic, which was strange. I could see sunlight, making exquisite patterns on the water's surface above me. Everything seemed fascinating and very slow. All around me, lionfish darted like golden suns and moons in an alchemist's dream. I looked down to where a vast labyrinth of black seaweed awaited me. An intense misery swelled over me. It was then that I saw, or thought I saw, something quite impossible. Striding through the water and towards the labyrinth came my samurai. He turned and looked towards me, and I stopped falling and became aware of a moment of choice. I could go up or down. I thought of all your trust and patience wasted. It seemed like a cruel and futile end to both our strivings. I raised my head again and saw what I took to be the end of a piece of string. You were true to your word. You would not let me lose myself. As I caught hold of it, my breath expired and I blacked out. When I came to, I was on the boat and the captain was pumping my chest. It was he who hauled me aboard, but it was you who saved me. He brought me back to Honyara and saw me ashore. In the past, I think I might have passed my underwater event off as a hallucination, but now I'm inclined to give it more belief. Perhaps it really happened as I described it. Perhaps the samurai took on the Minotaur and battles with him still in the seaweed labyrinth. It seems I'm not destined to see your homeland. Why is that? I need to let everything drop into place. These and many other thoughts fill my mind while I lie recovering under the gigantic rain tree here at number 9 hospital. Soon I will be home. Griffin.
Soon. Soon. I'm gonna, like, lift my mouse so I can continue. Lift it. There's only so much mouse pad available for me to go up.
Griffin, you have survived. Are you coming home when your strength returns? Will I see you at last? I alternate between storms of impatience and hills of peace. I draw in Highgate Cemetery, communing with my sisters. I can work there without constant intrusion from people looking over my shoulder. The museum was becoming impossible. I'm trying to concentrate on a series of stone angels for Sigmund's Christmas stamps, though really, I am waiting for you. Love, Sabine.
It's the guy in the name input. Oh, he has fallen. Name input guy, no.
Sabine, my mind has been clearing steadily. I know who you are, what we are, and what we will be to one another. I will be home on the 23rd, probably the same day that this card is delivered. Griffin.
They're gonna meet! Ah! Oh. Oh.
Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs.
What?
All about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds.
The stint. This game is based on a trilogy. So I'm guessing this is the final chapter. Oh. Spooky scary.
Griffin, I received your Paris card. I waited, but you did not return on the 23rd. I waited until the 31st, but you did not return. What happened? Where are you? Write to me, Griffin. Sabine.
What's happening? I don't know what the guy's saying. He's muttering. Space!
Sabine, I was sure I understood. Yet you were not here when I returned, and there was no sign that you'd ever been here. I asked the woman next door about you, and she looked at me as though I'd gone round the bend, saying she'd been in twice to check the house, and there was certainly no sign of anyone living in the place. I wandered around trying to figure things out. Then I found the old airmail label you sent on a postcard last winter, right after you first started staying here. It was still in the cupboard. Today comes your card saying you were in this house for 7 days after my return. I'm bewildered. I need you badly. Griffin.
There's sometimes space shenanigans afoot. I feel it. Woo! Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Did it.
Griffin, I've always known we were polarized, but I didn't expect this. We have a bigger problem than I thought. The gap is wide. I'm frustrated at not being able to hold you in my arms. I feel like I'm being teased by an unseen adversary. My consolation comes from being home, where I became myself again once I'd washed my face in the sea and dug my feet into Catty's sand. Do not worry. We will find an answer. Love, Sabine. How's Minalouche? He wanted to come back with me, but I told him he wouldn't get on with the Macaws.
Matches! Woo!
Sabine. Minalouche hung round for a few days, acting as if he'd lost something. Now he's back to his wandering ways. I too am getting my balance back. I told myself that there are no rules anymore. That I just have to keep going until we find out why this is happening to us. Maybe I read too many science fiction books when I was a kid. But this overlapping of time and space seems like we're living in parallel universes. You think we are separated for life? to exist in the other's presence. All my love, Griffin.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh!
Griffin, I think that the concept of the parallel universes is too grand. This, I sense, is more personal, a test of our tenacity. If we solve our problem, we gain the reward of each other. Since I returned, the island seems subtly different. I can't explain it, but something is bothering me. I'm having a hard time starting work on the new stamp designs. Probably my eyes lost their innocence in the 6 months I was in London. Yet, I could swear the air is murky. My family remains the same, though. They are so pleased to have me home. They wanted to know absolutely everything I'd seen and done. I love them, as I do you. Sabine.
Sabine. Just a fun name. I like that name. Meow. Meow. Meow.
Sabine, you will see from the address that I'm no longer in Hampstead. Last week, a deputation of do-gooders and busybodies arrived on my doorstep. The movement had been orchestrated by my neighbor, the one who told me you hadn't been in the house. She and her cronies were worried about me. My state of mental health, to be precise. It seems that my behavior had been peculiar, and that leaving postcards on my ceiling and asking about invisible guests was as unfortunate a symptom as having hairs growing out of the palm of my hand. To be fair, my guardians did seem genuinely concerned. What was I to say to them? If I'd been daft enough to tell them about us, they'd have called up the loony bin and had me put in a straitjacket. So I placated them as best I could. I told them I was fine, perhaps a little tired from my long trip, and that yes, I would love to have a hot bowl of soup brought round from time to time. When they filed slowly away, I made up my mind to take off again. The thought of being peered at over the fence and from behind curtains did not appeal. I've had for years a standing offer from Verica's best friend, Maud, to go and stay with her in Dartington, just outside Totnes. The unhappiness I felt around Verica's death always kept me from accepting her hospitality, but I needed to make peace with the place. So here I am. Maud has the same open kindness that Verica exuded, although she's a good deal older. She's made me very welcome, told me I can stay as long as I like, and that I can make as much mess as I wish if I confine it to my room, which used to be her painting studio before arthritis forced her to lay down her brushes. I walked over to Verica's old house today. The new owners had painted it pink and stuffed the garden full of roses. Verica would have laughed herself silly to have seen it. Remembering her laughter made me laugh. She and I laughed together, and once I started, I couldn't stop. I laughed till the tears ran down my face. And then I was crying my heart out. there, in the road in front of this ridiculous house. When I finished, it was okay. I'd forgiven her for leaving me, and we were friends again. I can't express what a relief that was. Often, when I want to work but have nothing specific in mind, I'll start with a familiar object, begin to draw it, and see what emerges. I just drew a banana that became a boat. Maybe you saw. It strikes me that it would be a good diversion to start making a children's story. I don't know the first thing about children, so my story is going to be the one I wanted to see and hear as a child, but never did. I doubt that I'll finish it, but for the time being, while most of my thoughts are directed toward you, it will be good therapy. And I wouldn't worry about murky eyes. London does that to you. The soot will probably wash out eventually. Hark at me giving you advice. You speak of a test. Do you believe it is a test set by someone else? Or is it of our own making? I've purposely steered away from theorizing about our situation, but isn't there someone old and wise on the island who might help us? This part of the world is short on reliable sages. Still hanging on for all I'm worth. Love, Griffin.
Ooh. Woo! Speed!
Griffin, I am so pleased you have gone to the country and made your peace with Verica. I felt the resolution was coming, and I'm glad for you. I'm back at work again. The printers made an error on the last Arba 8-cents issue, and the whole lot had to be recalled. It was very odd. They perforated through the heart of the stamp's image. They say they don't know how it happened. There was another hiccup in paradise. My father broke his ankle playing gumball with the grandchildren. He's a hopeless patient. Mother and I take turns keeping him in his chair. Tell me the banana boat story. Sabine.
This dude. Meow. Oh. Motherfucker. Eating his ice cream and I just heard a plane crash in the background. Banana boat! There it is! The banana boat.
Sabine, since you asked, Puck, the well-known wizard and changer of things, including himself, has had his wand stolen by the dreaded lugs. Puck sets off in pursuit with his sidekick, Finn. However, without his wand, his spells only half work, and he and Finn end up as a semi-banana boat, heading downstream to recapture the wand. I haven't decided what happens next. To tell the truth, I don't know about the story, but I quite like the pictures. This keeps me busy and reasonably sane during the day. At night, however, I'm too restless to sleep. I prowl about the garden like a lion in a cage. I miss you, Griffin.
Fish. Fish. It's a little fish. Oh.
Mr. Griffin Moss, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Victor Frolati, and I have recently arrived on the Sycamons, where I met a dear young woman called Sabine Stroheim. She tells me that you and she are very close. That is charming, and to me, professionally interesting. Would you mind giving me a few details? Nothing personal, I assure you. Just a little background information about the form of your communication. Dear Sabine has been so helpful. I felt sure you wouldn't mind my humble request. Yours, Victor Frolati. As a postcard aficionado, you will appreciate this old card from my collection. Unlike you and Sabine, I'm no artist, but I enter into the spirit of your liaison.
Ooh, how ominous. Oh!
Sabine, who's Victor Frolati? I got this sycophantic card from someone of that name saying he knows you and he knows about us. He wants me to tell him about our relationship. To put it mildly, that is a very disturbing request from a stranger. Exactly what does he want to know about you and me? You didn't give him my address, surely? He calls you Dear Sabine. Patronizing fart. It's weird, getting a card from the islands from someone other than you. I don't like it. Love, Griffin.
Dude, tooting away. Go. Good job. I'll never be able to toot like that. What?
No, I did not give Victor Frolati your address. He probably saw my card at the post office while he was waiting to go out. We're not high on security out here. Who is he? I am not exactly sure. It's hard to extract from him his profession and why he's here. When I arrived back from England, he was staying at my parents' house. He had turned up some 2 weeks previously, and having been introduced to my father as a fellow European intellectual, hit it off with him and ended up in the guest room. On my first night home, the family held a small party for me. I was tired and desperately disappointed from not seeing you, but I didn't want to hurt my parents' feelings, so I put on a clean dress and acted out a happy homecoming. The family was bombarding me with all kinds of questions about my trip, and I was trying to avoid making any reference to you, but I guess the occasional little thing must have come out. Anyway, halfway through the evening, Victor Frelati backed me into a corner and started asking me about London and what I had done there. He was ever so charming in a slippery way. He kept putting his hand
Shark!
on my arm. After a while, his questions became more explicit, and it was at that point I realized he must have been talking to my parents, because he seemed to know a lot about me, and some about you. You must know, Griffin, I would never talk about you to a stranger. My parents know a little of what happened, of course, but apart from them, I keep you jealously to myself. So when he started to ask about you and your house, I used a standard dodge and went to relieve myself. For the rest of the evening, I carefully avoided him, and whenever he smiled at me, I gave off a hacking cough. I asked my father about Frelati the following morning, and he said he's some kind of medical journalist, although he wasn't sure exactly what kind. Since that initial encounter, I've seen him on a number of occasions. This is a small community, and each time we meet, he's been nauseatingly attentive and consistent in his inquiries about you and me. 3 days ago, my father brought him to my house to see my paintings. Frelati has become Gus's chauffeur, pushing him around in a rickety old cane wheelchair that one of my uncles unearthed from his garden shed. Frelati's main query, restated in a variety of guises, was how much had my work been influenced by my friend in London. I kept looking at my father to see if he was noticing the persistence of Frelati's line of questioning, but his mind was elsewhere. Academically bright as he is, Gus never has been able to smell a shadow. I suggest you ignore Frelati's card and don't worry, I'll deal with him. Whether he's a journalist or not, I have no intention of giving him a story. Speaking of stories, I like your wand tale just as an outline on the card. Maybe Griffin Cards could do original children's story postcards. I'm pushing hard to finish the catalogue before the year is out. I went over to Tip to do some drawing. It's ages since I was there last. I camped overnight on the peninsula, me and a million insects. Good thing I was starting.
Oh, you're winning?
Or they would have driven me insane.
Well, it's more like a
Sometimes I
shush.
think about building a house out there, but then I remember it would take longer to get word from you. That I could not bear. Love, Sabine.
It's hard to win or lose when you're kind of just playing an interactive novel. Absolutely, 100%. I'm winning.
Mr. Griffin Moss, as you didn't reply to my first card, I must assume that you are reticent to assist me in my investigations. It is critical that you do so.
Ooh.
Miss Straham's parents confirmed my suspicions that you and she have a fully formed, one-way visual telepathy. Do you realize how rare that is? As you may know, I am a scientific journalist, frequently published. In my opinion, it is your moral and social obligation to allow the scientific community access to your experiences. Miss Strahem has become stubborn and will not show me your correspondence. I will undoubtedly persuade her in the end, but perhaps you could reason with her. I feel certain you will comply with my request that you send me her cards and letters to you. Yours, Victor Frolati.
There's some shenanigans afoot with, like, the overlays and stuff. I'm not hearing any of the blurb, so not sure what's up with that. Wheel. Oh. Oh, I didn't even hear the TTS either. Goodness gracious.
Sabine, in the post that followed your reassuring letter came another unreassuring card from Frolati. Unlike the first obsequious missive, this one had an undertone of threat. He wants our correspondence. What a fucking nerve. Who does he think he is? The science police? He may call himself a scientific journalist, but I think he's a freak hunter. You and I, my love, are the freaks. Do I still ignore him? Or would you prefer me to send him a letter telling him to go to hell? All my love, Griffin. I liked your spinning top so much, thought I'd do one of my own.
Crab! He took the moon!
Griffin, do not write to him. It will only provoke him further. He now says he is a psychic analyst and that he wants to write a paper on us. I think he's a despoiler for one of those tabloid newspapers. I cannot get him to leave me alone. He comes to my house almost daily. I pretend to be out, and he waits for me on the porch. Everywhere I turn, he is there, waiting for me. Something is happening to my vision. When I see you drawing now, it is all out of focus. I must take action, but what do I do? Being apart from you is unbearable. Love, Sabine.
Hold on 1 second. Oh. I'm just gonna try refreshing my sources. I'll refresh my sources. That's a neat trick. My overlay is gone. It's gone! Where did it go? I sent it to hell! No! Hold on. I must correct this. I think we've lost our overlays. The URLs are still like a thing. They're just our overlays are gone. What happened? No good. Oh no. I shouldn't have refreshed my overlay. Try... Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay. I don't know what that white bar is down there. It's very spooky. I don't know what it is. Someone sent me a message. Unfortunate. This is very weird and I don't like it. Scares me. I really don't know what that is down there. Huh. Weird. Well, we persist. We endure. But Nagash, we endure. Knock knock.
Sabine, I can't stand the thought of Fralati pestering you. I'm trying to imagine what the creep looks like. I picture a tall, skinny man with intense, piggy eyes and flattened, oily blue-black hair. What can I do to help you? Should I try again to reach the islands? I will give it a go if you say you want me. Even worse than Fralati, though I think he's got something to do with it, is your waning vision. Because the same thing is happening to me. When I first got back to London, I started seeing the things you drew. At first, dimly, and then quite distinctly. I didn't want to tell you. I wanted to surprise you by making a copy of one of your drawings and sending it to you. But now, the images have faded to milky blurs. Do you think Fralati is capable of obstructing our vision? If everything were well with you, my life here would be very pleasant. I divide my days up fairly equally between reading in the library up at Dartington Hall and painting in Maud's old studio. Dartington Hall Library is the most comfortable room I've ever been in. There are shelves packed with uncommon art books, soft, pillowy sofas, and windows overlooking the gardens. If we ever find a way of getting you here, I will take you into the garden and show you the dark trees they call the 12 Apostles, and tell you about the one night a year when you can see the 13th. I'm trying to improve my typing. Notice I now leave a space after a comma. I'm very proud of myself. I had a long conversation with Maud the other night. It started with her asking to see some of my work. I always carry a full set of my Griffin cards in my bag, so I got them out and handed them to her. She laid them out like tarot cards, studied them for a long time, and then proceeded to tell me about myself. Not my biography or my practical everyday life, but my symbolic life. The play of images that my unconscious revels in while I labor on the surface. At the end of it, I asked how she knew so much about symbols and the unconscious and all that. She gave me a sort of lopsided grin and said, 10 years as a Jungian analyst gives one a little inside information. Once again, I'd underestimated someone who could tell me exactly what I needed to know. Maud started her reading by looking at the blind leading the blind, the picture of the 4 naked baby kingfishers, and unthinking drinking the goldfish escaping from the glass. She said they were emblematic of a number of minor themes, such as escape and the rite of passage. However, the major theme, the heart of the matter, is my search for the philosopher's stone, the pursuit of harmony and balance. She noted my use of a series of creatures that show a transition from single to dual harmonic status. Then she picked up on the references to the Sphinx and pointed out that the griffin was interchangeable with the Sphinx in early Egyptian mythology. She spoke for a long time. I'd lose her altogether at some points, and then suddenly she'd say something so right that my mouth would drop open. She finished by telling me that I was in search of my equal opposite. I almost blurted out that I'd found her, but then Fralati came to mind, and I didn't want to risk trusting anyone, not even this wise and gentle woman. Is it true? Do you think you are my perfect opposite? All I know is that when I conjure you up in my bed at night, the blood races through my body at the speed of light. I've been frightened to tell you about the way you infatuate me sexually in case you rejected me. But now that I see you too are vulnerable, I feel I can tell you. I want to see you respond to my caress. I want to feel your skin on mine. To smell your sweat and taste the salt on your neck.
Can't just say these things.
Accept your presence.
I'd never experienced real desire till you arrived. for which I thank and damn you alternately. We must find a way to be together or I will combust. I doubt that I will ever be able to express to you how much I love you. Griffin.
Can't just say those things. Hold on, let's see. Let's see if this one. Something I did for fun, but I want to see if it'll work. Huh, the left is gone. Left hand side of the is gone. What is going on? This is so very bizarre. Oh, and I locked the screen, but what's that white bar at the bottom? What's up with that? I don't like it. Get it out of here. Why must all my overlays be broken? What's with that? I don't like it. Gives me conniptions. No. You're not gonna watch Shrek 2 next.
Do not come. It is too dangerous. You almost died once trying to cross the water, and the chasm between us is far more treacherous now. I do not wish to alarm you, but I am in great distress. Victor Frolatti has become like an enemy in a nightmare. His malevolence is clear to me, and nobody else notices. He was cornering me continually, at the market, in my parents' house, in front of my own door, standing far too close to me, and saying that I must let him see the cards and letters. He has become more and more oppressive. I've never been subjected to that kind of physical intimidation before. Island men do not behave like that, and I found it I didn't know how to respond. 2 days ago, he was waiting for me at my door as I came back.
No, I'm not gonna stream B-movie.
The sight of him made me feel ill, and I told him to leave me alone to get away from my house. He gripped my arm and whispered, "I'll get what I want. I must see your London notebook, and I'll make you give it to me in the end." This caught me off guard, because I didn't think anyone knew I kept a record while I was away. For a minute I was frightened, and then I broke free of his hold, pushed him away from me, and called him a tyrant and a pseudo-intellectual bore, and a number of other names. I wish I hadn't. I had assumed he was a hollow bully. But yesterday afternoon, Victor was pushing my father up the road to the square when the wheelchair, supposedly, hit a pothole, and father was thrown out. His ankle, which was healing, was cracked again. I feel certain that this was Victor's warning to me. He knows that I cannot put my parents in danger. I went to my mother and told her everything. She promised to do what she could to detach my father from his dependence on Victor. She also suggested that I stick by her for the next few days. So this morning, for the first time since I was little, I went out with my mother on her rounds. She has 2 young trainee midwives working with her now, and the 4 of us made our post and prenatal tours. It was comfortable being around pregnant women and babies. I forgot about Frolati for a while. At one point, the trainees were tending a woman soon to give birth, and Tahi asked if I could see the difference between her 2 protégés. I replied that from what I saw, one was impatient to drag the child from its mother, and the other was indecisive and in danger of allowing the mother to become exhausted. "Good," said Tahi, "and how are you with your griffin?" Her astute words made me feel bitterly lonely. I have no power to be with you at all anymore. Have I missed my chance? My visions of your artwork have gone completely. I have lost that which was most precious to me. No, that's not true. You mean more to me. But I've gained so much from watching your drawings and paintings come alive that now I feel like the cord has been cut. Your cards and letters are all I have. How could I reject your desire for me? You are my only bed partner. Why should I not be yours? Because I no longer see you, I need all the more to be able to imagine us together. But I am more and more afraid, Griffin. For the first time, I begin to think that we may never come together. Love, Sabine.
No, we're not gonna watch Christmas Halloween. Because it's Halloween, dum-dum. Spooky month. Gotta rip out your skin. Gotta jostle a guy hanging upside down. Snappo. Funny.
Sabine, we have to do something. Anything. I cannot stand by and watch the door between us close. We need to find a way to come together or be lost to one another forever. I'm not catastrophizing. I know this to be true. If I can't reach your world and you can't be in mine while I'm here, maybe there's another place. Halfway. I don't know. I'm rambling. Don't think of giving in to Frolati. Hold on. I love you totally.
I don't think this is gonna end well. Zoom. Zoom in. Enhance. Zoom. Zoom. Zoom.
Yes, we've got it. It is so straightforward I could cry. We need to meet on middle ground. I will leave Fralati in my wind wake. The islands will be safer once I'm gone. Last March in Alexandria, you found a gate that opened onto a different world. Perhaps Alexandria is the place where we could meet. Perhaps the gate would let us both pass through. Will you meet me there? Will you leave everything behind so that we can be together? Do not hesitate, my love. I'm filled with so much hope. Sabine.
Sabine. Fuck you, rope.
Sabine, what you suggest is crazy, simplistic, and impossible. But of course, I will meet you. There is no reason without you. I will be at the Pharos in Alexandria on the 21st. I trust you and I know we shall be together. Griffin, bring your angel wings.
I don't think I like where this is going. Who's this? Who's this schmuck? It's because you're evil. Nah. This is the samurai? Okay, bye! Bye-bye! Mm. That's a face! Spooky.
Dear Matthew, it's good to get in touch with you at last. We're very impressed with your general diagnostic abilities. However, we're not convinced you should be considering prescribing penicillin for the Atubi's youngest son. Write soon. Sabine M. Strohan.
The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by her rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.
Well, did it! Ooh. You can look at the postcards! Or rather, there's the credits for the people who did the postcards. Very nice. That was an interesting experience. Not really sure I'd call it a game, but it's certainly an interesting experience. I mean, and it's abandonware, so you can get it for free. I wish the audio issues weren't a thing, but you know, it happens. That's gonna be that. No DOSBox, no! There we go. Oh, look at that. Screen doesn't have any problems. Goodness. Alright, well, I'm going to go now and hang out with the doggo. Some dogs. Yeah. I don't think anyone I know is streaming. So yeah, I'm just gonna call it there. I will figure out what to do for next week and try to solve the screen issue. But until then, you all take care. Bye bye.